The longer you stay silent, the deeper she feels it. Modern Stoic. There's an undeniable sting when she pulls away, when the messages stop, and her silence feels like an unspoken rejection. Naturally, you feel the urge to fix things, to reach out and explain your side. But here's the truth: most men miss the point. Silence, when wielded with purpose, is a form of strength. It's not cold indifference, and it's certainly not a manipulation game. It's about achieving clarity. The moment you stop seeking validation and stop trying to be understood, she begins to truly feel your absence. Not just the silence of your words, but the absence of your presence, your energy, and your connection. The longer you remain silent, the deeper the impact. This isn't about seeking revenge or punishment. It's about self-respect, emotional control, and understanding the power of your quiet presence. Sometimes, your silence can leave the most lasting impression. Let's explore why. Number 1. When you say nothing, you say everything. When you say nothing, you say everything. There's a profound power in silence that many men miss. As the quiet stretches, the unanswered texts, the growing pauses in conversation, the instinct is to rush in and fill the void. They send long messages, over-explain, and scramble to fix things that might not even be broken. But here's the truth: not every silence is a void. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than words ever could. A man rooted in the modern Stoic mindset understands that silence is not avoidance, it's a form of presence. By resisting the urge to chase approval, by not rushing to fill the space with explanations, you're saying, "I don't need validation. My peace is non-negotiable." That calm, that inner strength is something rare. Women notice it, they feel it. Picture this: a room full of chatter. Everyone striving to be heard, to be seen, to prove something. Then there's one man, standing quiet, calm, not trying to impress anyone. He becomes magnetic. His silence creates intrigue, curiosity. She starts to wonder, why hasn't he called? Does he still care? Has he moved on? That shift from certainty to curiosity is where attraction begins to spark. Your silence doesn't punish. It invites reflection. It places her thoughts back in her hands, leaving her to wrestle with them. Without your constant words soothing the tension, she begins to replay the moments, questioning if she truly understood your worth. That's when your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. Remember, as Seneca, the old Stoic, said, silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings. Staying quiet takes strength. It requires emotional discipline, not to play games, but to fortify your own resilience. Your silence is not about manipulating her thoughts. It's about cultivating your own inner peace. You don't need her attention to feel whole. And in a world full of noise, the man who can remain silent often leaves the deepest mark. Don't be afraid of silence. It's not a void. It's a blessing of Stoicism. Number 2, she fills the silence with thoughts. When you go quiet, something fascinating happens. Her mind starts to fill up. It doesn't stay empty for long. Human psychology doesn't allow for that. We're hardwired to notice absences far more intensely than we do presence. So, when you stop reaching out, she won't just wait in silence. Then she'll start asking herself questions. Why hasn't he called? Is he thinking about me? Did I lose him? These questions don't appear in an instant. They build, layer by layer, day by day. The longer you remain silent, the deeper the weight of her thoughts becomes. It's not that you're playing games. No, that's not the point. What you're doing is creating space for her mind to process life without you in it. And that's powerful. Think of it this way: when someone is constantly messaging you, always checking in, always showing up, your brain gets used to it. It becomes routine. You expect the message, you expect the call. But when that rhythm breaks, when the silence stretches longer than usual, that's when the emotional impact hits hard. Her mind begins to loop. She wonders what changed. Did you move on? Did you lose interest? Did she push you away without realizing it? All these questions start echoing in her thoughts. Now, here's where the blessing of Stoicism comes into play. A Stoic man doesn't panic when things go quiet. He doesn't rush to fill the silence or desperately try to control someone else's emotions. Like Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." A Stoic man trusts that absence often speaks louder than presence ever could. He understands that in this space of silence, there is wisdom to be found. What most men fail to realize is this: by staying silent, you're not just making her wonder about you, you're allowing her to feel the weight of missing you. It's no longer about the last thing you said or did. It's about the questions that gnaw at her mind late at night. Did she take you for granted? Did she misread your calmness? Now, she's left chasing a version of you she thought would always be there. This is the beauty of silence. It doesn't just create space. It creates an emotional impact that words could never achieve. That's why silence isn't weakness. It's not avoidance. It's discipline. It's the art of letting things unfold naturally without forcing your way into her thoughts or rushing to control the situation. A Stoic man understands this fully. The longer you hold that silence, the more meaningful your presence becomes in her mind. Not because you're physically there, but because you're not. You've mastered the Stoic lessons of restraint, and with that comes a profound sense of power. Your silence speaks volumes, and in that silence, you reveal your true strength. If you find this valuable, comment below and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I trust the power of silence to reveal deeper truths. Your silence creates space for introspection and growth. Let it unfold naturally. Number 3, the longer you wait, the heavier it feels. The longer you wait, the heavier it feels. Silence has a unique power. It builds momentum. Each day you don't act, each moment you hold back, the emotional weight doesn't fall on you, it falls on her. The Stoic knows this intimately. As Epictetus once said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Your stillness is far more potent than any words you could say. And the longer you hold that silence, the more deeply she feels it. Here's the secret most men overlook: when you pull back, when you stop chasing, you're not merely creating space between you and her. You are creating a void, a space that she will naturally fill with her own thoughts and questions. Why the silence? Is he over me? Is he indifferent? Does he care? That's human psychology. We fill silence with imagination, and the longer that silence persists, the more intense and vivid the imagination becomes. Picture it like this: a small pebble thrown into a pond creates a ripple. But when the water is calm and you drop a heavy stone, the impact is profound. Your silence is like that stone. At first, it might go unnoticed, but over time, the absence of action, the stillness, creates tension. The longer it lasts, the more her emotions intensify, and her thoughts grow louder. A Stoic man understands this law of nature. He doesn't just practice silence for the sake of it. His calm is powerful, not passive. His silence is not an act of punishment or manipulation. It is a refusal to chase after fleeting emotions. He refuses to degrade his dignity in pursuit of attention. As Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote in his Meditations, The best revenge is to be unlike him who did the injury. Don't react emotionally because she did. Stay grounded. Stay still. Your power lies in the ability to remain calm in the storm. Let's say you're facing a breakup or dealing with a situation where she suddenly pulled away. Most men panic. They flood her with texts, trying to explain, trying to fix the situation. But not you. You step back. You let silence speak louder than any words ever could. Instead of scrambling for validation, you focus on yourself. You build yourself. You train your mind. You master your emotions. And all the while, she's left with nothing but her thoughts, her doubts. And your silence, it tells her everything. I don't need your approval. This is why the longer you wait, the more intense it becomes for her, not for you. You're not trapped in anxiety. You're building strength in the quiet. You're learning patience, control, self-respect. And when she finally reaches out, or if she doesn't, you've already won. Why? Because you chose peace over panic, discipline over desperation. That's the power of the Stoic mindset. You don't just wait. You wait with purpose. You wait with the understanding that silence, when wielded properly, is unforgettable. Remember, it's not about sitting idle. It's about standing firm, mastering your emotions, and letting time do what your words never could. The Stoic life isn't about reacting. It's about responding with calm strength. And when you understand that, you're not just surviving life, you're mastering it. Number 4, you become a mystery again. When you're always there, always texting, always explaining yourself, you lose your edge. You become like a favorite song played on repeat, familiar, predictable, and eventually taken for granted. No one truly treasures what's always within reach. But the moment you step back, the moment you choose silence over constant chatter, that's when you reignite the mystery. And mystery, that's power. It sparks curiosity, stirs imagination, and leaves room for questions. When you stop explaining yourself, she starts to wonder, what's he thinking? Why did he pull back? Has he moved on? That silence becomes a loud statement, forcing her to fill in the gaps with her emotions. Emotions she wasn't expecting to feel: doubt, curiosity, longing. It's that silence that does the talking, and it speaks far louder than words ever could. Marcus Aurelius, an old Stoic, once said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. So why chase after her, constantly reaching out and filling every silence with your voice? Instead, you step back, letting things unfold naturally. You protect your peace, and in doing so, you allow her to experience your absence, not as a game, but as a reminder of your worth. Picture this. She checks her phone at night, scrolling through old messages, wondering why you're not there anymore. She replays your conversations, your moments together, and that silence forces her to reflect. And it's heavy. She's not just reflecting on you, but on how she treated you, on what she might have taken for granted. And here's the truth: the longer you stay silent, the deeper she feels it. You let go of the need to control, and in doing so, you become unpredictable once again. In relationships, unpredictability is a spark of attraction, of mystery, of desire. So be still. Breathe. Understand that your silence isn't emptiness. It's presence without noise, and it often leaves the most lasting impact. This is the blessing of Stoicism in practice. The modern Stoic knows the value of restraint, and that silence can be far more powerful than a constant stream of words. If you believe silence holds power and leaves an unforgettable impact, drop a comment right now. I control my presence through silence. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom. And remember, your silence isn't emptiness. It's presence without noise. Number 5, She's wrestling with herself, not you. Here's a truth most men miss when a woman goes quiet. It's not just a test for you. It's a test for her, too. She's not sitting there wondering if you care. She's grappling with deeper questions. Can I truly move on? Am I over him? Why does he stay in my thoughts even when he's silent? This isn't about you. This is about her inner conflict. And here's the kicker. The longer you stay silent, the more intense this battle becomes when it grows louder with each passing moment. Most men freak out at this point. They think silence means rejection. They panic and rush to break it, texting, calling, seeking reassurance. But the Stoic man, he does nothing. He knows that not every storm requires him to be the hero. He understands that silence isn't a void. It's a powerful tool. It's her space to face herself, to confront her emotions, and that's where the real breakthroughs happen. Picture this: you're standing by a calm, still lake. A single stone drops into it. What happens? Ripples spread, disturbing the peace. That's what happens when men rush in too soon. They throw their stone into the lake, disturbing her thoughts, her peace. But the Stoic man stands back. He lets the water remain undisturbed, understanding that silence allows the mind to reflect. It's not about waiting for her to come to you. It's about letting her come to terms with herself. She's not losing sleep over you. She's wrestling with her own heart and mind. She's asking questions. Did I make the right choice? Was I too quick to walk away? What did I miss when I let go of him? The longer you stay silent, the deeper those questions cut, because when there's no distraction, her mind gets clearer. And that's when feelings emerge, raw and real. Let her face that reflection. Let her feel the weight of your absence. It's the stark contrast between who you were when you were always available and who you are now. Calm, centered, and not desperate to fill the silence. That's where your value is planted. Marcus Aurelius, a true Stoic, said it best: the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Your silence. It's not weakness, it's power. It's a presence that doesn't need to make noise to be felt. So don't break the silence. Don't be the man who acts impulsively just to relieve the tension. Stay steady. Let her sit with her own thoughts. Eventually, she'll realize she's not fighting with you. She's fighting with herself, trying to understand the space you've left behind. And in that space, your value grows. Quietly, but undeniably. Reflect for a moment. Are you the man who jumps to fill the silence, or are you learning to let the silence work for you? Sometimes doing nothing is the most powerful thing you can do. Hold steady. Let her face her emotions without interference. You're teaching her and yourself the blessing of Stoicism, of control, presence, and strength. So take a step back. Trust the process. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than words. Don't be afraid to let it speak for you. Number 6, distance makes her remember. In the chaos of daily life, we often take what is closest for granted. This is human nature. But the truth is, when you step back, when you create space between you and her, something extraordinary begins to happen. Appreciation begins to grow. Think about it. How many times have you only realized the value of something once it was no longer there? It's the same with you. Your silence, your absence, isn't just a gap. It's a powerful emotional reset. You must understand this silence doesn't mean nothing. It means everything. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, you will stop caring what people say about you when you realize how seldom they do. The real power, though, lies in how silence shifts the dynamics with someone who once had your attention. When you pull away, you're no longer part of the daily background noise. You stop being just another text message or notification. The moment you create that absence, she starts to wonder, where are you? What's going on in your life? Why aren't you pursuing her the way you did before? That silence breeds curiosity. It ignites questions that cannot be answered by simple words or gestures. It creates a void that forces her to confront the space you've left. She begins to fill it with thoughts of you, with realizations that she once took you for granted. Nature abhors a vacuum, and when you create one, she can't help but be drawn to it. This is the power of a Stoic life, a life grounded in the principles of stillness and emotional discipline. A Stoic man does not pull back to punish or manipulate. He does so to protect his own peace. He understands that in the absence of noise, both he and she are given the space to reflect, to appreciate, and to grow. When you stop filling the space, you allow the space itself to do the work. You must embrace this truth. The longer you stay silent, the deeper she feels it. It is not a tactic. It is the natural consequence of creating space in a relationship. You are not forcing her to miss you. You are simply allowing her to come to her own conclusions. This is when true appreciation occurs, not because it was demanded, but because it was discovered. The Stoic principles teach us that peace comes from within, and by embracing silence, you unlock the power of reflection. Stay grounded in that silence. Let distance do the work words cannot. Master your life. Master the art of stillness. And if you find today's content very interesting, please give me a word of encouragement by commenting "very interesting" in the comments section. That is a huge motivation for us. Thank you. Number 7. While she's thinking, you're building. While she's wrapped in her thoughts, you're not idly waiting. You're not pacing, staring at your phone, or hoping for a text. That's not the mindset of a man who knows his own worth. When she's caught up in doubts, memories, and emotional overthinking, you're quietly and steadily becoming something greater. Picture Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who commanded the might of an empire but still carved out time for quiet reflection, for journaling, for sharpening his mind. That's the energy you're channeling now. You're not just waiting around in silence. You're using that silence to build yourself, while she's caught in her emotional loop, wondering if you still care, why you're silent, and whether she's lost you. You are focused inward. You're leveling up your life, polishing your mind, pushing your body in the gym, advancing your purpose. This is the blessing of Stoicism. It's not about reacting to her. It's about building yourself. You must understand you don't pause your growth for anyone. The longer you remain silent, the deeper she feels it. Silence is not absence, it's space. And in that space, curiosity flourishes, mystery returns. As she wonders, you become less predictable, less available for her to control. She fills the silence with questions, and the best part, you don't need to answer. You're not waiting on her to move you, you're making progress for yourself. You're reading the book you've been meaning to dive into, you're hitting the gym, you're working on that project, learning something new. You're becoming a better version of yourself, not for her approval, but for your own growth. Now think of the man who chases, who keeps texting, who scrambles when she pulls away. He reacts emotionally, proving he's dependent on her responses to maintain his peace of mind. Contrast him with the man who walks the Stoic path. The man who lets go with grace, who embraces silence, not out of bitterness, but because he's focused on building. When she finally reaches out, she won't be facing the same man who was waiting. She'll face someone stronger, someone sharper, someone who's been moving forward while she stayed in her own emotional space. You're not stuck. You're writing the next chapter. And this is why your silence feels so powerful. It's not passive, it's progressive. It's an active choice to move forward, to build, to grow. This is the path of the modern Stoic, and it's the one that will make her realize that you're no longer waiting for her approval. You're already on your way. Number 8, feelings last longer than texts. You might think your constant texts and messages are keeping her close. But here's the truth. She'll forget what you said last week. What she won't forget, however, is how you made her feel. Silence, real, thoughtful silence, can often leave the deepest emotional mark of all. Words, they're like waves on the shore. They crash in and fade away. But the emotional energy you leave behind in your absence, in that silence, that sticks. And sometimes it's that silence, not your words, that can create the strongest connection. Don't underestimate the power of quiet. When you go silent, you're not simply stopping communication, you're creating an emotional space. And what happens in that space? Her mind starts to fill it. Why hasn't he called? Is he thinking about me? Did I lose him? These questions start to spin, and the longer the silence lasts, the deeper the emotions grow. Silence, the blessing of Stoicism, is often far more potent than anything you could type in a text. Why? Because it's no longer about the words. It's about your absence. It's about the void, the distance, and the feelings that flood in because she realizes she's missing you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you remain silent, you're not giving her more to analyze. You're giving her space to reflect on everything, on you, on the relationship, on how you made her feel. Your absence becomes a mirror for her thoughts, and often that's when she truly starts to see your value in ways that no daily text could ever reveal. Imagine the scenario: you used to text her every morning. "Good morning? How did you sleep?" The texts were sweet, but eventually they became routine, easy, expected, so predictable they could be taken for granted. But then one day, you stop. Not because you're playing games, but because you've chosen to focus on yourself, on improving your body at the gym, sharpening your mind through reading, strengthening your business, and most importantly, protecting your peace. This is what a Stoic man does. He focuses on his growth, his path, his discipline. The world doesn't need to know his every move. He's silent, building, while others are left wondering what he's up to. And that's the beauty of it. When you stop texting, she notices. The routine is broken. And in that break, the reflection begins. She'll start to miss you. Not just for the texts themselves, but for the attention, the energy, the care you once gave. Her mind will question, what's going on? Why hasn't he reached out? Am I losing him? And that's when it hits her. In the silence, she begins to feel your absence more acutely than she ever felt your presence. She starts questioning herself, wondering if she took you for granted, if she should have appreciated you more. That's the power of silence, the ability to make her confront her own emotions. So don't rush to fill the void. Don't panic and shoot over a just checking in text. Stay still. Stay grounded. Let her feel your absence. In the calm, disciplined silence of a Stoic mindset, you're not running away from her. You're choosing to reflect, to grow, to become stronger, wiser, more focused. Use this time to sharpen your mind and your life. The silence becomes your ally, a reminder of your worth, something she begins to realize more with each passing day. Remember, it's not the words you say that will stick with her in the long run. It's how your absence made her feel. That feeling will linger long after any text or phone call. So don't be afraid of silence. Use it to make her realize something important. Your absence is more powerful than your presence if you use it wisely. If you've made it this far, you understand the power of silence. Words fade, but absence lingers, leaving a deeper mark than any text ever could. The longer you stay silent, the more she feels your absence and starts to realize your value. Now, take a moment to reflect. Has someone's absence ever made you see their worth more clearly? Drop a comment below with the words, "Silence creates realization." Let's hear your thoughts. Number 9. Time always tells the truth. Time never lies. It reveals the truths words can't reach. In relationships, when silence dominates, it's not a void. It's a space where reality takes shape. You may wonder, was the connection real? Was it one-sided? Did she value you? Or was she simply comfortable with your presence? The answers will come, but only if you let time do its work. Seneca understood this when he said, "Time discovers truth." In moments of silence, you're not allowing chaos or impatience to dictate the outcome. Instead, you're letting the truth emerge naturally. That's the essence of Stoic life, patience and discipline. You let things unfold, no matter how long it takes. In today's world, we're surrounded by constant noise, texts, notifications, reassurances, but in silence, the noise fades. She's left with her own thoughts, her own reflections. That's where real emotions surface, without distractions. She starts to question, did I take him for granted? Did he mean more to me than I realized? Time alone can stir those thoughts. The truth lies beneath the surface, but it only reveals itself when we stop trying to force it out. Remember, a Stoic doesn't rush. He understands that emotions are like flowers. They don't bloom faster because you shout at them. If you fill the silence with words too soon, you interrupt the natural rhythm of discovery. A Stoic life requires stillness and patience. Think of silence as calm water. When the surface is disturbed, you can't see what's below. But when it's still, the depths reveal themselves. So it is with your relationship. Silence clears the emotional clutter. It forces both of you to confront what's real. Perhaps she realizes she misses you. Perhaps she feels the weight of your absence. Or perhaps she sees that she was comfortable, not truly invested. Whatever the outcome, silence uncovers the truth. Whether it's pleasant or painful, it will set you free. The longer you remain silent, the more profound your presence becomes. Your silence holds weight. It gives her the space to reflect. And in turn, you create space for your own growth. You're not ignoring her. You're giving both of you the chance to find clarity. A Stoic man doesn't fear time. He doesn't panic when things grow quiet. Instead, he stays grounded in his own self-worth, knowing that rushing will only muddy the water. You're not just enduring the silence, you're mastering it. In this silence, you become stronger, more centered, and more aware of your value. You've chosen the path of patience, knowing that time will reveal the truth. And when it does, you'll be ready. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So focus on your growth. Stay grounded, be still, let time do its work, and in the end, you'll stand firm, no matter what truth emerges from the silence. Embrace the Stoic principles. Trust in silence and trust in time. It will reveal what words never could. Number 10. Calm confidence stays with her. When it comes to silence, it's not just about being quiet. It's about how you carry it. True calm, controlled silence, free from drama or bitterness, leaves a powerful mark. You're not punishing her. You're protecting your peace. And make no mistake, she will feel that peace long after the silence has begun. Unlike most people who go silent with tension, guilt, or a hidden agenda, when you remain silent from a place of genuine inner control, from the blessing of Stoicism, it creates a different, more profound impact. You stand firm, like an old Stoic in the midst of a storm, unshaken by fleeting emotions. That's the essence she feels. It's not just the absence of words but the calm strength that resides behind them. Picture this: she's scrolling through her messages, anticipating a text, perhaps a long explanation or a casual just checking in, but it never comes. Instead, you stay centered, grounded, not because you're angry, but because you've chosen peace over chaos. In that moment, she starts to wonder, why is he so at peace without me? And that's when the silence takes on a life of its own. She begins to imagine, replaying every moment, every word, every glance. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And now she's deep in that imagined world, where your calm silence becomes louder than any message you could have sent. It's not the absence that impacts her. It's the weight of your inner peace that resonates. This isn't about winning an argument, nor is it about trying to prove your worth. Your silence speaks for itself, quietly but profoundly. You're not passive, you're powerful. While she may be tangled in her thoughts, you're focused, pouring energy into your growth, your purpose, and your work. That's what sets you apart from the average man who chases validation. You've moved past that game. You've embraced emotional discipline, and believe me, she notices. She may not admit it right away. Pride often gets in the way of such recognition. But over time, your calm silence will remain in her mind far longer than any emotional text or dramatic fight ever could. She'll remember how you chose peace over panic, how you let go without losing yourself. And that's not something easily forgotten. The longer you stay silent, not because of weakness, but because of inner strength, the deeper she feels it. Your absence doesn't speak of rejection, it speaks of growth. The longer you maintain that quiet power, the more you reveal the man you've become. At the end of the day, this isn't silence for the sake of silence. It's about showing up with presence, without pressure, in a world that tells you to chase, to fix, to explain. You stand still. And the truth is, the longer you remain silent, not out of anger, but out of calm confidence, the deeper she feels it. It's not about your absence, it's about what your absence represents. Your growth. This is the moment when you stop worrying about her reaction and start focusing on who you're becoming. Let her wrestle with her thoughts while you quietly evolve. Let her feel the shift while you continue to build yourself. This is no game. This is power rooted in discipline, the Stoic way. Hey, thanks for sticking around until the end. I hope this video has given you some valuable insight into the power of silence and how it can impact relationships and your own personal growth. Remember, the longer you stay silent, the deeper she feels it. But silence isn't just about quieting your words, it's about mastering your emotions, being present, and building strength through stillness. That's the real power of a modern Stoic. If you found value in this video, do me a favor. Hit that like button to support the channel. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Have you ever experienced this kind of shift in silence? I read every comment, and I'd love to hear your story. And don't stop here. Check out the videos on screen now. They'll help you go even deeper into this mindset of strength, stillness, and real masculine growth. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay grounded, stay disciplined, and protect your peace.